Chapter 2 will be discussing by Miss Anita Bongkodin. Based on our review-related literature, Impact of Pandemic on Students' Performance has explored the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on students' well-being and has reported experiencing symptoms of anxiety in daily life. The study actively demonstrates that during the COVID-19 pandemic, this contributes in numerous ways to students in both physical and mental well-being, such as anger, fear, frustration that could lead into different health conditions. This number one stressor leads students in reduced motivation towards their academic studies and even made a drastic change to daily routine. So we have a lot of experiencing symptoms of anxiety because of this pandemic and getting the long-term effect to the student who experiencing anxiety. Students experience fear that can cause them to have a lot of health condition, and it can reduce their motivation for their academic performance. Reason for student vulnerability over uncertainty. Made a survey of the condition of students regarding the pandemic, which resulted that most of the student reason for being vulnerable to this kind of circumstance was mainly due to school closure and lack of social interaction or restricted social connection. Although there is another way of interacting with people, socializing with someone in person is better. In conclusion, students we have become more vulnerable because of what the COVID-19 pandemic to the point where this has changed everything. So, nagkaroon ng pagsusuri sa kondisyon ng mga kabataan tungkol sa pandemya. Ang dahilan ng pagiging mahina ng karamihan sa mag-aaral ay dahilan sa kakulangan ng pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga tao at kakulangan sa gadget. May ibang paraan upang makipag-ugnayan, ngunit hindi pwede na lumabas dahil na rin sa new normal na pinapatupad ng ating bansa. So, in general, we have two categories of stress, which is eustress, a positive stress that can help for individual to encourage to get better at learning, and the other one, which is distress, a negative stress that can affect for individual. The study adds to the literature by demonstrating that uncertainty stress is uniquely associated with mental disorders in a senior high school age population. In this undergraduate sample, uncertainty stress shows a stronger present body of knowledge concerning the relationship between stress and mental disorders. The findings from this study were congruent with those from a previous research study on uncertainty stress with self-reported physical illness. The negative effects of uncertainty stress on perceived mental health was supported and confirmed by the empirical data of this study. There are several plausible explanations for the findings related to uncertainty stress. Uncertainty in illness theory asserts that uncertainty develops when a person is unable to attribute specific values to objects or events, or is unable to predict outcomes because of a lack of sufficient cues. Uncertainty stress can stem from lack of information or resources provided to college students about their current state and future endeavors. According to current studies, there are 4 forms of uncertainty stress: faith, unpredictability, life goal uncertainty, social value uncertainty, and social change uncertainty. One study underscored that socioeconomic inequalities were an antecedent of uncertainty stress. The life of college student is uncertain Not only is there uncertainty related to their academic progress, but also that their social lives and their future beyond college. Uncertainty regarding current status in life, meaning the complexity of achieving life goals, lack of information about future endeavors, and an inconsistent value orientation probably constitute potent and negative psychological stimuli for senior high school students. The grade 11 TVL group of researchers relates to young minds study and in a way that COVID-19 the pandemic surely did impact mental health of everyone, especially young people. Students copying strategies connecting intolerance over uncertainty. Students use different coping strategies with under stress. The most preferred approach to deal with stress was meeting with friends, asking advice from others, talking to people to get emotional support. They note as other methods of coping with stress. The next most preferred approach to deal with stress was to play games and involve in sport activities denotes as productive coping. The least method to tackle stress was to avoid being with other people, feel guilty, and to worry about current situation. Denote as non-productive coping. Coping mechanism plays a significant part to overcome or reduce the stress experienced by individuals. State the appropriate and effective coping by buffer the effect of stressful circumstance on physical and mental health of individual. People use different types of coping to overcome their stress. For example, Shake and colleagues review that some people cope with the aid of drugs, alcohol, overeating, and smoking, which are counterproductive, while some cope by exercising, meditating, and listening to music, and it is proven to help reduce stress. Students encounter a lot of challenges in their daily life, hence, the idea of a vibrant life is disclosed by this challenge, which contribute to stress. Many of them face hardship and difficulties in their studies and working life. For some students, stress has become a way of living. Students are often challenged with many different personal and interpersonal challenges, and the disability of these students to embrace the challenge and demands and has turned into one of the most common reasons for students to withdraw from their tertiary education. Uncertainty is all around us, never more so than today, whether it concerns a global pandemic, the economy, or your finance, health, and relationships. Much of what lies ahead in life remains uncertain. Yet, as human beings, we crave security. We want to feel safe and have a sense of control over our lives and well-being. Fear and uncertainty can leave you feeling stressed, anxious, and powerless over the direction of your life. It can drain you emotionally and trap you in a downward spiral of endless what's if and worst case scenarios about what tomorrow may bring. While we may not wish to take acknowledge it, uncertainty is a natural and unavoidable part of life. Very little about our life is constant or totally certain, and while we have control over many things, we can control everything that happens to us. As the coronavirus pandemic demonstrates, life can change very quickly and unpredictably. One day things may be just fine. The next you've suddenly.
And this is our chapter 2. Let's go for chapter 3. Chapter 3 will be discussing by Miss Anna, Miss Arce, and Mr. Lumbres.